Hey there guys, welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show. This is it. Don't get scared now. I hope you guys grab some popcorn, something cold to drink, 3 ice cubes, no more, no less. You guys know how this goes. And with all that said, let's talk about movies or whatever you want to talk about. Ask away. The first one here though comes from Billy M. How's it going, Billy? Oh, Billy. Do people at work question you about YouTube or stare? You know, the weird thing is I've only had a few questions and no one really cares. They're like, oh, how'd you do that? And I'm like, well, I was a weirdo in my parents' basement in my early 20s and I had nothing to live for. So I pushed record on a camera and somehow it turned into a career for 12 or 13 years. And here I am. And that's really as far as it goes. So yeah, not often. Ballooned Raccoon says, I'll make some popcorn. Yes, if you guys want to, just run to the microwave, throw in a bag of popcorn. Just get that going. You need something delicious to eat as you look at my disgusting, disfigured face. But thank you for doing so. John, where's your Oppenheimer review? It's right here, and it just needs to leak out of my mouth at some point after I push record on a camera. I actually did shoot a quick review after the movie, but the video's a little bit out of focus, and I'm like, of course it is. Of course it's out of focus. Why couldn't it just be perfect? Technology, cameras, it's 2023. No camera should ever go out of focus. It should just automatically be in focus no matter what. And if it's not in focus, it should just, I don't know, it should make beeping sounds or something. It baffles me. But the background behind me is in focus. Maybe I'll try to do something with it. I just, once again, guys, I do work 40 hours a week, and it's by the end of the day, my brain is fried. It's mush. It's mashed potatoes without gravy. And so I'm doing my best. But I did see a couple new movies this week. I did see TMNT Mayhem, and I enjoyed it more than I actually thought I would. Based on the trailers, I was like, okay, clearly they're aiming for a younger demographic here, and they're trying to capitalize on the success of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Gosh, I was thinking No Way Home, but yeah, Into the Spider-Verse with the same animation style. But I will say this about TMNT Mayhem. It sort of felt like The Sandlot meets Stranger Things, except you have mutated Ninja Turtles in the mix. And that's all positive things. I rather enjoyed it. I think they definitely took some liberties and changed some things. And did the movie go in all the directions I really wanted it to? No, there were a few things I was hoping they'd do a little bit differently. And I thought having Ice Cube as the voice of Baxter's Fly, because it's technically not Baxter, it's Baxter's Bug. Anyway, I thought that was a little odd choice for like a voice casting. I think like someone like Nicolas Cage should have voiced the giant bug that the Ninja Turtles fought. What's the matter, Turtles? You fly, got your something. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. Was it perfect? No. But the thing I did want to mention about the animation style compared to Into the Spider-Verse was, at times, TMNT Mayhem, it almost looked like claymation ever so slightly. There are a few sequences where I'm like, oh, that almost looks like James and the Giant Peach, except with Ninja Turtles, which was kind of cool. So I enjoyed it, but hey, I'll be honest with you. I'll keep it real. I still would love me another quality live-action TMNT movie, like one with practical effects. Not that Michael Bay wannabe thing that we got a couple years ago, whatever that was. I don't know what that was. That was an abomination. I don't know how you just destroy Shredder so god-awfully. And like they just did everything they shouldn't have with those movies. And then they had Megan Fox as April O'Neil. I don't know what they were thinking. Either way, I enjoyed the movie. All right. Where's the sound? No music? Yeah, you know what? I actually need to edit my intros on the live shows because the sound I was using was royalty-free music that I did buy like 8 years ago. But for some odd reason, these greedy bastards started copywriting every live show that I did until I edited out the music parts in the intro and the outros. So I got to tweak the music. So I'm working on it. Okay, the next one comes from James Dozier. Hey, John. I know it's going my birthday. Okay, what's happening? Hey, John, it's my birthday in a week from today, and I'll be turning 30. I don't know if I'm excited or depressed. Well, James, everything changes after 30 years old. You really start to feel your age as your youth slowly dissipates and evaporates away. It's a weird phenomenon. You truly feel like you're becoming an adult sooner than you're ready to become one, or at least I did. Really, I'll be honest, at 32 is when I started to feel the aches and pains of adulthood, and now I just look in the mirror and I go, who am I? What am I? I'm going to go mow the grass. That is my escape away from reality. And then maybe if the day's going well, I'll stop by Costco, if I have time. But early happy birthday, man. You'll be okay. You'll make it. Max Neugenbauer, Fast X, and Across the Spider-Verse are both very good. No, Fast X is a piece of trash that should be lit on fire and thrown at the writer's door who wrote that piece of trash. Anyway, let's continue on. But they have the same issue with ending incomplete and unsatisfying. MI7 did it properly. Yeah, oh God, my voice almost went high-pitched there. I'm a 12-year-old boy all over again. I thought Fast X, I barely even remember what that movie was or what it was about. I just remember scenes and things happening, but it wasn't a real movie. I remember Jason Momoa just being odd and dancing around on the screen. So I wouldn't call that a real movie. And do I care about part 2 of that? Not really. Into the Spider-Verse, I thought was kind of cool. I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. MI7, yes, I am excited to see the second part of Dead Reckoning. But I will say this, gosh golly gee whiz, the way that they handled the antagonist in that film being AI, I was not the biggest fan of. I think AI can be a great antagonist. I mean, look at something like Terminator. It can work. But the way that they represented the actual physical embodiment of AI with having some guy who's just some dude who looks like he should be in a classy alcohol commercial. He's fighting Ethan Hunt on top of a train and he worships artificial intelligence. I just wasn't buying any of that shit, and it felt so underwhelming to me in that sense. I thought there's maybe a better way they could have handled that. But either way, I am looking forward to part 2 of Dead Reckoning. The next one comes from... Come on, update. Here we go. Bat Jack says, favorite moment from the 1990s Ninja Turtle movie. Oh, man. Really, probably the farmhouse sequence where Raph is in a bathtub recovering, and they're all training out in the field and meditating around a bonfire, and Casey Jones is being really touchy with April O'Neil. That entire sequence is phenomenal. Also, one scene I really enjoy in the first movie is when it shows the Foot's secret warehouse hideout for the first time. And then you have Sam Rockwell. You want menthols? They would never do that in a modern day Ninja Turtles movie. Just offering children cigarettes, playing arcade video games, people skateboarding around. That was cool. That's what they needed in the new movie. I'm just saying. I wanted to see a little bit more of that. But we'll probably see a lot more of Shredder in the sequel with the Foot. Just a theory. All right, the next one comes from David, who says, hey, John, just curious of your thoughts on Hannibal. Personally, I found it quite dull and didn't enjoy it very much. I preferred Red Dragon. Yeah, Hannibal, directed by Ridley Scott, was a bit underwhelming. I did enjoy Gary Oldman as Mason. What kids will do for a candy bar, Cordell. I quite enjoyed that character. Just a weird, dubious dude with a mutilated face who's a bit creepy and a predator against children, but great, seedy, dark character. Phenomenal. But other than that, I didn't latch on to much in Hannibal. Like the scene where they're eating Ray Liotta's brain, something about it just felt odd to me. I guess I mean, they are eating a man's brain. It should feel slightly odd, but it looked weird to me. I enjoy the movie, but it definitely doesn't shine a light to the original. I think Red Dragon is probably the superior movie. Do you see? And you got Philip Seymour Hoffman in the movie. Good stuff, man. So yeah, I would say Red Dragon is probably the superior movie. And Brett Ratner's best movie he's ever made. Gus Babington says, admit it, you love Spawn 97 and Godzilla 98. You know what's odd about both of those choices? I actually saw both of those in theaters. I saw both of those in the theater as a kid, and I didn't really enjoy either of them. Oddly enough, I feel like as a kid, I even had quality taste in cinema. I thought Spawn was kind of cool. I thought John Leguizamo was cool, and his character was neat as the clown, and I thought the prosthetics were neat and well done. And then I remember seeing, I actually vividly remember seeing Godzilla 98, and just thinking, you know what? Something about this just isn't like I'm watching Ferris Bueller run away from a dinosaur. It just felt really odd to me and underwhelming, and I even as a kid, I was like, I wanted more from a Godzilla movie. But with all that said, speaking of Ferris Bueller running away from dinosaurs, I do want to talk about Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which has just recently come out on 4K. So big thanks to Paramount for sending me the steelbook of the 4K here. Now, I have not watched this on 4K yet. I've read a couple reviews. People are saying it looks good. This is the best the movie's ever looked. And that steelbook. Bueller. Let me tell you a quick story about Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This movie, in many ways, inspired me to be the person I am in life. Well, at one point, the person I was in life. Now I work an 8 to 4, so I don't know if I'm really letting loose anymore. But at one point, this movie gave me the motivation and almost the blueprint to avoid authority and avoid wanting to go to school and just living life. Because life passes pretty fast. If you don't stop to look around once in a while, it could pass you by. I'm paraphrasing. I know I just butchered the quote. But anyway, I found that so inspiring the first time I saw this movie in the mid-1990s. And I've always lived by his motto in this film. So definitely a great film. One of my favorites. And pick it up on 4K if you haven't already. And if you have watched it on 4K, did it look good? Were you happy with the picture quality? The next one comes from Mickey C. How's it going, Mickey C? Do you think the combo of strikes plus the fact that cheaper practical films like Barbenheimer are big hits will change how studios approach filmmaking? Gosh. Well, the thing about the Barbie movie is, and I meant to record this the last two times I've went to the theater because on a positive note, the movie theaters, or at least the ones in my area, have been packed for like the last 2 weeks. And call me crazy, but if you make a few decent movies to entice people to go to the theater, well, they'll come to the fucking theater. So just keep doing things like that, movie studios, or whenever the writers strike in so you can write new movies and put them out. But yeah, the last few times I went to the theater, the parking lot was packed. I had to park like a quarter mile away. But what I wanted to record every time I was walking in, and just when I was going to see TMNT the other night, there's always these large groups of women wearing pink shirts, taking pictures in front of the theater so they can post it to Facebook on Instagram because they're going to go see the new Barbie movie. Now, my question to all of them are, once they come out of the theater, I want to ask them, first of all, did you enjoy the film? Like, did you actually like it, or did you like the concept of going to see a Barbie movie and the social interactions that you got from it? Or just an excuse to take a picture and post it to Instagram wearing a pink shirt like 900 million other women have done in the last 2 weeks? That's my question for them. I want to know if they legitimately liked it. But then again, I had the same question for a lot of people coming out of the Twilight movies when I worked at a movie theater in college. And I asked a few people, I was like, I get that you're hyped to see it, and this is like an event, but did you actually like that shit? So I don't know. But yeah, it's a good time. If you want to go to the movies, it's a beautiful time. There's something for everyone. And, like or hate some of the movies out, at least there's something for everyone. You got the Barbie movie. You got TMNT for the kids. You got Oppenheimer for the highbrow cinemaniacs. I was going to say film enthusiasts, but cinemaniacs just sounded more exciting at the time. So, yeah, it's a good time to be alive. So do I think studios are going to change and adjust to what they're doing to maybe just making cheaper films that capitalize on IP? Maybe. I don't think the Barbie movie was all that cheap of a movie to make, oddly enough. You know, it's not like they have giant monsters and CG battles, but when you hire A-list actors, movies just aren't cheap anymore, especially obtaining the IP and making it happen and marketing. It's just, I don't know. You know, I think the cheaper movies should just be on streaming because, to be honest with you, it feels like there's almost more conversation around a film when it hits Netflix than there was for that film at the theater. Just because more people will see it once it hits Netflix. That's just kind of how it goes nowadays. So, but then again, no matter what film comes out, no matter how great it is, it feels like that conversation surrounding that film just dies within like 3 or 4 days at this point. You know, it used to be that conversation would last for a month. And now 4 days later, because people in society are bombarded with so much content, it's just, we don't have time to think about it 3 days later. It gets suppressed by everything else. So I think I answered your question. The next one comes from Kirkaholic, who says, what's a movie you went in wanting to love but couldn't? Mine are the Blade Runners. I love the world and the characters, but I find the plots lacking. Yeah, I know the cool thing to do is say you love Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. And if you do love those films, I understand completely, and I do like both of them, and I respect the original Blade Runner with Harrison Ford just for sort of paving the way with its practical effects, its film noir, the look of that movie. I love the look of Blade Runner. Let me preface with this. The look of those films is everything I want from a sci-fi film. It truly is. It doesn't feel over the top and too bombastic and like a Michael Bay movie. No, it feels crafted. But as far as the plots go, yeah, I just never have been in love with the plots of the Blade Runner movies. It's like, I get it. I get what we're going for. I understand. But after the first act of both those films, I'm like, I see the writing on the wall. And my biggest complaint with Blade Runner 2049, and I know some people are going to say it's a masterpiece. And hey, I get it. I can understand why you would say that. But for me, any movie that has Jared Leto in it of like the last 7 years since Suicide Squad 2016, if Jared Leto's in a movie, for some odd reason, it just cheapens it to me. It just makes it feel like less than. And I don't feel like he ever brings anything to any performance he's been in the last like 6 years. I really don't. Like, I think the last great performance he's given, and I'm going to give you a random answer you would never expect me to say, is like Dallas Buyers Club. I thought that was like the best last performance he's given in a film. So, I don't know. He didn't help Blade Runner 2049 is what I'm saying. The next one comes from Nickadug Express, who says, John's live? ? I guess dreams do come true, but I can't get the Oppenheimer soundtrack. I have a speech impediment. The Oppenheimer soundtrack out of my head. It gives me a great pump at the gym. I have not really taken the time to listen to the soundtrack or the score to Oppenheimer. I remember liking it in the theater, but I haven't went back and really re-listened to it. I have been listening to the Tron Legacy soundtrack a lot, and the Mad Max Fury Road, Brothers in Arms, especially, soundtracks in my car the last couple of days, just because I just wanted to feel a little more pumped up and energized. And by the way, if I sound a little bit crazy and down right now, it's because I have a slight cold. I caught myself a case of the sniffles. It's not the Cove. I just took a test earlier, and it's not that extreme, but I just feel a little tired, a little bit of a runny nose, so if I sound a little bit congested, that is why. The next one comes from Niking01. John, I hope that you watch the rest of Bounty. I won't be mad, but you have to watch it. I will get around to watching Bounty. I have not finished. I did start the first 20 minutes and have not finished. I'm sorry. I will get to it, though. It's on the rainy day list. James Dozier says, Street Fighter the movie is my guilty pleasure. You know, it's sort of my guilty pleasure, but at the same time, there are scenes in the film I enjoy, but I hate the interpretation of Ken in that film. I hate the actor that they have playing Ken. I hate the way he looks. I hate the presentation. It's just not what I wanted. But there's other things about the film I quite enjoy. Maybe like 3 or 4 things. And I remember seeing the original Street Fighter in cinemas as a kid. Like, I can remember watching that. I can remember the theater I went to see it, which has since been demolished. I remember going to see that movie and just thinking, this is kind of like Street Fighter, but I don't know. And then, like, the next year, Mortal Kombat came out, and I was like, ooh, now this is a video game movie. The next one comes from Seth Hall. How's it going, Seth? Hey, John, I missed your last live show. I wanted to say I'm glad you're doing better. I can't think of a question. Laugh out loud. Well, no question needed, Seth. Thanks for stopping in and give me a nice complimentary. That's how I'm going to say complimentary from now on. Comment. So thanks for that, man. I'm doing good. The scars are healing. You know, I think they look better in camera than they do in real life. This camera adds a nice little magical glow to my face. But yeah, they're doing good. Hopefully in a year or two they heal and you don't see them. That or I'll just have scars on my face for the rest of my life and I'll just look like an evil henchman from a James Bond villain or James Bond movie. Carter Lovejoy says, any upcoming 4Ks you're looking forward to? Also, next Saturday is my birthday. I'll be turning 23. I'm getting old. 23, you got your whole life ahead of you. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. I'm telling you, savor the flavor, man. You know what's crazy? I want to give you some advice. If you guys are young and in your early 20s, take your money and invest it into the S&P 500. Just take your money and throw it in there. I'm telling you, give it 15 years. You're going to be glad you did it. I wish somebody would have told me this stuff in my 20s. I'm not even talking about movies or popcorn and any of those shenanigans right now. I'm telling you how to plan for your future, okay? All right, anyway. Happy early birthday, Carter. And upcoming 4Ks I'm looking forward to. Gosh, man, I don't even know what's coming out. My finger is so far away from the pulse right now. It's like during the day, my brain doesn't think about movies at all. You know, it's at nighttime when I come home and I come to my little fortress of solitude known as the Flick Cave. This is where I can think about movies, but during the day, I'm just running around and I'm being an adult, and it's draining my soul. But anyway, I don't even know what's coming out. Unless Point Break 1991 is coming out on 4K or Nightcrawler, at this point, I don't even know what else I need to see on 4K. Nine King 01 says, it's hilarious to me that the guys that made the Halo versus Call of Duty video directed Talk to Me. Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of Talk to Me, I do want to talk about it. I did see it. I put out a first reaction on the FlickPick channel on Instagram. So if you follow me in those places, you might have saw my quick thoughts. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was a fresh take on the possession genre. Do I think the movie was perfect? No. Do I think the main character was completely unlikable and offered nothing to the story and just everything she did was the wrong choice, where she was almost like a cowardly character that you couldn't root for whatsoever? Yeah, I didn't like her, and I don't think she added to the movie. But with all that said, every time they were at a party being possessed, because that's what these kids do on a Friday night, they strap themselves down to a chair and become possessed. I don't know about you, but I'd rather I don't know, take a gummy and drink a Jack and Coke. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned like that. But I thought that was really interesting, and I think they could have done more with that, some of those sequences. And then by the third act of the film, it sort of just got a little bit convoluted. And I was like, okay, where are we going with this? What are we doing? And it felt like less than. Like, I feel like the movie blew its load in the second act. But I did enjoy one scene in the film. And if you guys joined me on the last live show, you know my face sort of got knocked off by a ladder. The ladder said, I want to take his face off. And then it almost did. But there's a scene in Talk to Me where this kid gets fucked up. Like, his eyes getting popped out. Oh, I was just watching that and I could just feel every laceration to his face because I just lived through that a few weeks prior. So that was a good scene. But would I watch the movie again anytime soon? Probably not. The next one comes from The Dark Mike. How's it going, The Dark Mike? Have you seen... Oh, I have seen Talk to Me, so I just covered that. It's the best horror movie of the year. Also, what are your thoughts on Succession? I think it's one of the best shows. I have not watched... I watched some of the first season of Succession. I have not watched anything else. It's one of those shows on the bucket list one day. Thank you for the stupid spam chat here. Thank you for that. But anyway, I haven't seen all of Succession yet, but is Talk to Me the best horror film of the year? I mean, yeah, but is there a lot of competition at this point? I thought the new Insidious movie was just boring. The next one comes from Zepsy Cinema. Best supporting performance in Oppenheimer. For me, Jason Clarke, Alden Ehrenreich. Am I saying his... I feel like I can't say his last name. Benny Safdie. Yeah, Benny Safdie, who was in Good Time. I thought he gave a really good performance. And what do you think of the return of Josh Hartnett? Yeah, it was cool to see Josh Hartnett as like a man. Like his face looked a little more pudgy, but he looked like he aged well. And maybe this is a weird thing to say with older Josh Hartnett, but he kind of reminds me of like Val Kilmer a little bit when Val Kilmer was in his 30s or 40s. I got a little bit of that in Oppenheimer from Josh Hartnett, but it was nice to see him. Who's the best supporting actor in the movie? I don't know. We'll go with Josh Hartnett. But I quite did enjoy Florence Pugh in the movie as well. Controversy aside. James Docher says, have you seen The Golden Girls? I watched a few episodes 20 years ago, yes. Night King 01 says, John, Killers of the Flower Moon is 3 hours and 26 minutes long. I'm ready. Give it to me now. Apparently, it's amazing from early reactions. Crazy, funny story. I went today to Panda Express and I came home and I started rewatching The Irishman, which is also another 3.5 hour long movie. And I've been rewatching that movie now for, I think, 6 months. Like, sometimes when I'm bored, I watch 25 minutes of it, and then I go on with my life. So I'm like halfway through the movie, and it's taken me 6 months to get through it again. I've watched it a few times since it came out in theaters. I do enjoy it. I don't think it's Scorsese's best movie. It just feels like everyone was a little too old for the roles, but that's neither here nor there. But I am looking forward to the new Killers of a Flower Moon movie. I'm very much looking forward to it. I need another Scorsese movie in my life. I've been craving quality cinema. Steve Goldie says, thoughts on The Quick and the Dead with Leonardo. The Quick and the Dead with Leonardo? Am I thinking of the same movie? Yeah, okay. It's been a long time since I've seen this. I just forgot Leonardo DiCaprio was in this movie. I completely forgot he was in this. I remembered everyone except for him. Yeah, I remembered Sharon Stone being in the film, but yeah, I forgot Leo was in this. It's been a long time since I've seen it, man. I just remember liking Sharon. I think the reason Kurt Russell was cast in that film is because Sharon Stone basically demanded that he be in the film. That's what I remember from it. And the next one comes from Clark Ingleton, who says, I'm a trade painter and had a large extension ladder blow over in a strong wind and land on my back. Your injury was worse, but ladders are no joke. Yeah, man, ladders are dangerous. I mean, these things are just death traps. Like, first of all, you have to climb these mechanical devices that are just barely holding together. They're made out of metal or aluminum or sometimes wood. And just like, they just don't look stable enough to begin with. Let alone, like, if they fall over, they could just kill you. And you have to climb to the top of this rickety device. And it just feels like by this point, we should have something a little more futuristic and fail-proof. I don't know. I want hovering boots. I want boots that hover. That's what I want. I want hover boots, like in Super Mario Bros. The movie. I don't want to climb to a ladder. That's for babies. What am I talking about? I don't know. Mickey C says, Craven delayed a year. I was so hyped. Sarcasm. They delayed Craven a year? Oh, shit. Here comes another Morbius. Just 3 years of delays to get to a mediocre movie that no one's going to give a shit about. Because I'm sorry to say, I know there's a small demographic of people who will say, I'm a Craven the Hunter fan. Yeah, you might be, but you like him more when there's Spider-Man involved, right? Am I crazy here? So a Craven standalone movie, I just don't see that doing any better than any other generic standalone action movie starring like Liam Neeson, for example. So the fact that it's delayed, oh man, that's not good. Azim the Dream Review says, hey Johnny, after Keaton was robbed of a proper third movie, do you think he got a good conclusion to his Batman and Flash, or do you think he was kind of robbed again? Also, did you read Batman 89 comic? It was a sequel to the Batman Returns. I did not read the comic. Do I think he was robbed? Yeah, well, kind of, sort of, because if the Flash was a bit more successful, and by successful, if it earned any profit whatsoever, there was talk about doing a Batman Beyond movie and then having Keaton come back for all of that. And that would have been glorious. That was where I wanted them to get to. And the fact that they're probably not going that direction is a huge letdown. And I think they should probably still try to do it, because I think more people would rather see that than what we got in The Flash, or at least I know I would. But it was nice to see him once again, so I can't complain. At least we got to see him get nuts one more time, man. Jace Holloway says, hope you're having a nice night, John. Well, I am. It is a work night, keep in mind, so I do have to go to bed somewhat early tonight, but we're going to talk about movies until my brain leaks out of my ear. So here it goes. Just got out of the gym and wanted to ask your top 3 back exercises and top 3 chest exercises from back in your bro years. I still watch those vids for motivation. Well, thanks for that, man. And thanks for the generous super chat. So when it came to back workouts, I do a lot of like lat pull downs. And I would change up the grip, and I use the cable. So I would do like a close grip lat pull down, then a wide grip lat pull down. I do underhand, overhead. And really, I just try to change the angle as much as I can to hit every single muscle in my back. Also, the first workout I would typically do is pull-ups. Now, if you want to do assisted pull-ups or whatever gives you a good lat workout, do those. That's the starting point I always did. But yeah, I do lat pull downs, or I just do lat pulls where you set seated on a bench and pull them towards your nipples like this. But a lot of cable workouts when it came to lats. Also, you can do I forget what they're called. I'm not a gym guy anymore. Like, it's been so long since I've went, and I do want to go back. But sometimes I would do I want to call them like lawnmower pulls, whatever, where you bend over and grab a dumbbell and crank it up like this. I remember that was a pretty good workout, but for me, cables were always the best workouts for anything. You got the most time under tension, you know? There was no relief. You just always had like tension on your muscles when doing cables. So that's what I did. And thanks for the question. Night King 01 says, so speaking of your accident, John, you essentially got Clark Griswold from Christmas Vacation, where you got taken out by the attic ladder. Shit, that's one way to look at it. That's funny you said that. That is kind of true. It wasn't quite like that. I was standing under the ladder and it was spring-loaded and swiped across my face. So I didn't step on it and get hit in the face or fall through, no. The next one comes from Greg Harris. I hate being at the age seeing my childhood heroes fade away. When Arnold and Stallone pass, I'm going to take it hard. Getting older sucks. Yeah, you know, the one celebrity, or there's like 3 celebrities I want to meet. There's really only 3. I think that would really get me starstruck. And that's Arnold, Stallone, and Cage. And I definitely would love to be, like, getting a picture with Arnold and just shaking that dude's hand. I think that would be the pinnacle of any celebrity meet and greet I could ever have. So yeah, one of these days. I need to go to like the Arnold Classic and try to make that happen. But It's scary, man. They're getting old. They're in their 70s at this point. Well, not Nicolas Cage, but Greg Harris says, I hate... William says, nothing, but thanks for the super chat, William. Perm says, hey, John, love you, man. Well, I love you too, sir. Shake off that ladder to the face thing. Just remember what Tyler Durden says. You don't want to die without any scars, do you? Oh, I have scars, but they're all mental. But it's a good motto, and thanks for the super chat, man. Yeah, you know, I'll be honest with you. When I got hit in the face with that ladder and I have a slight scar, which is okay, it doesn't look completely grotesque. It's not like a big gaping scar across my face. It did kind of wake me up to the dangers of reality, you know, and sometimes you forget that things are dangerous. Like you can just be driving down the highway one day and a tanker truck could just sideswipe you and it's it. Game over, man. Game over, man. As Bill Paxton would say. But yeah, it did kind of give me a wake-up call like, oh shit, man, you should be careful. And the other thing I've been thinking about and really replaying it over and over in my head since that ladder accident is when that thing swiped across my face, it grazed my face, and I got as lucky as I could with that still making contact and not hurting me or injuring me more because, like, you got to keep in mind, this scar is like right here. It goes right there. So if I was just 2 inches shorter, and thank God I'm not 2 inches shorter, that thing would have swiped across my eyeball, and I would have an eye patch on right now, and I would be missing my left eye. And that terrified the shit out of me, because occasionally I like to see 3D movies, you know, so that was sort of a wake-up call. Yeah, man. So, but thank you for the question. Azim the Dream Review says, I remember your video on your Batman-themed bathroom. Is your bathroom still Batman-themed? No, at one point, this bathroom here in my office was going to be Jaws-themed. And then I was like, I don't know if I want to dedicate the time and money to making it Jaws-themed, so now it's just like no theme. So no, I no longer have a Batman-themed bathroom. I found the shower curtain on Amazon, but can't find the soap dispenser or toothbrush holder. Search eBay. I'm sure it can't be too hard to find a Batman-themed soap dispenser. I think Walmart actually has them. Devin says, long-time listener, first-time caller. Well, thank you for calling in today. And by calling in, thank you for the super chat. But here it goes. I'm honestly over best of the year, Oscar-worthy, usually drama movies. What's the best, just mid-level fun movie you've seen lately? You know, trust me, I've never been a huge fan of the pretentious Oscar bait movies. Sometimes those movies are quality, but sometimes you can just tell a mediocre movie is just writing things in there. Okay, if we make this character just like this, it has to get Oscar nominations or else they're going to look like bigots. You know, I sense that shit. When I sense that shit, it turns me off. But lately, just fun theater experiences that I've had. I mean, I did just see TMNT Mutant Mayhem. I thought that was sort of entertaining. And though I think Oppenheimer will be nominated, and I think it's definitely, it might fall into the category that you're saying to sort of avoid, but I did enjoy that experience. You know, I enjoy cinematic experiences from directors who give a shit about the quality of their film. So that's always nice to see. But you know, I'll keep it real with you. I enjoyed watching The Flash in theaters when it came out. Is it perfect? No. Would I almost say it's sort of like a fun rainy night guilty pleasure? Yeah. But I sort of enjoyed it. It's definitely not perfect. So I'm trying to think of something else I watched recently. It's been a lot of mediocre movies of late, hasn't there? What else has come out? I don't know what else has come out lately. My brain has been mush. Oh, shit, yeah. Well, I saw Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I did not like that. The Transformers Rise of the Beast movie was instantly forgettable. I have not heard anyone talk about that movie a day after it came out. It feels like a movie that could have come out like 12 years ago. That's where that movie's at. So, yeah. So I'm going to go with TMNT as one of the more enjoyable, fun, let-go movies I've seen lately. Kai Nye, how's it going, man? Hi, John. Thoughts on the writer/actor strike? Well, I've heard it might be coming to an end soon. I'm not sure. My thing is just pay these people. Now, because these are the magic makers, right? Without quality writing, you don't get quality movies. Also, when it comes to residuals, if that's how the game used to go, that's how it should still go. I don't think a streaming service has any right to take something where you negotiated getting residuals. That was part of your agreement. That was part of your contract. And then one day, because of a different form of technology where they rerun the same movie, or technically they don't rerun it, it's available on a streaming service and you don't get your residuals. I don't think that's fair. That would be like YouTube coming to me and saying, you know what? We have all your videos that you uploaded, and rather than pay you monetization on all those old videos that people continue watching, go fuck yourself. We paid you enough. We're going to stop doing that. So from that standpoint, I completely understand. But then again, we're getting to a point where, and keep in mind, not everyone, but I think there's a portion of the population of people who consume content. And when I say content, I mean that's all they want is content. They don't want quality cinema. They want fucking content. They want flashy things for their eyeballs because everyone has ADD now. And I blame TikTok for that. But anyway, it's going to get to a point where AI is going to write these movie scripts. It just is. It's going to formulate a movie script that's going to be good enough and probably better than some movies we're getting nowadays. Because honestly, I think if Jurassic World Dominion was put into ChatGPT, it probably would have been a better movie than the shit we got. But anyway, it's getting to that point. So it's a weird fine line to ride, but I think we do need quality writers, or else cinema's going to die. So they're going to get their money eventually. But you have to understand, if the studios just give in every time they have a demand for more money, that same thing's going to happen over and over every year. And eventually studios, it's just the profit margin's not going to be there. So, I mean, look at movies now. Like, most movies aren't earning a return. They're just not. And it's kind of scary. It's a scary time in Hollywood. So, I think, I don't know if I gave you a fulfilling answer, but those are my quick thoughts. Maybe that was a little bit discombobulated. The next one comes from The Dark Mike. Am I crazy? I've seen Oppenheimer 4 times. Also, what are your thoughts on Treasure Planet? I think it's the most underrated Disney movie. I have seen Treasure Planet once, and I didn't really like it. It's sort of just one of those, it was one of those movies of, it just didn't have a timeless classic vibe to it for me. Sort of like Atlantis. Like, it just didn't have that classic timeless approach that the best Disney movies have. Like, I just watched, me and a group of friends and my girlfriend watched Toy Story, the first one, the other night. And I was like, God, this movie's just perfect. It's literally the perfect movie. There's no fat on the bone. It's an hour and a half long. You're in, you're out, and everything's done to perfection. William says, Johnny Muscles, big fan, Nolan or Tarantino? To be honest with you, that's a tough question because they both have different styles. Do I think Nolan could have made as good of a Dark Knight movie as Nolan? Do I think Tarantino could have made a good Batman movie like Nolan did? No, it would have been a very different movie. Tarantino's version of Batman would have been Batman and Robin cruising around in the Batmobile all day, just talking shit. And that would have been cool, but that's not exactly there's a place and a time for both of their styles. But with all that said, I would be hard pressed not to say I more than slightly prefer Tarantino over Nolan. I do. I really do. The older I've gotten, the more I appreciate Nolan or Tarantino films. And I've rewatched Django Unchained and The Hateful Eight and Pulp Fiction probably 100+ times at this point. And then you have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which every time I watch the movie, I like it more and more. So yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Tarantino as of right now. Elliot Cecil says, hey, Flick Picky, do you remember the episode from The Sopranos with the poor woman who had poop all down her newspaper's upper butt? I don't really remember that, man. I don't know if I remember that. I'm sorry. But I quite enjoyed Paulie. William says, more faith in the future DCU or MCU. Yeah, I don't know about MCU, man. That new Marvels movie or whatever that is, Captain Marvel 2.0, the Marvels, whatever it's called. I watched the trailer for that right before Mutant Mayhem just yesterday, and my friend was like, is this a movie or is this going to be a Disney Plus series? And I'm like, right? Yeah, no, this is a movie. And it doesn't look like a movie. I feel like that's going to have the worst box office performance of any MCU movie. I really do. Because it's about a group of characters that the mass audience just doesn't really latch on to. So, I don't know. I don't... What's the next big MCU movie anyone's excited about? Didn't Secret Invasion have some of the worst ratings of any Disney Plus MCU series? So, I don't know. Until it gets to the next big climax of the next Avengers movie, I really don't care. It just all feels like cannon fodder at this point. It just feels like content to fill the void until we get to the next big team-up movie. But I am looking forward to the future the DCU. Once they reboot that shit, and then we get a new Superman movie and a new Batman movie, that gets me excited. I think the fact that they're going to have a new vision going forward, and just like the new Batman movie, oh God, the premise sounds phenomenal. So I'm leaning towards DC right now. Yeah, someone said Secret Invasion sucked. That's all I've heard about that series. The next one comes from Colt Dog. Have you seen What We Do in the Shadows? Thoughts? What We Do in the Shadows. Sorry, What We Do in the Shadows. Have I seen this movie? I have... Did I watch this? Yeah, I feel like I watched this. Yes, I have seen this. Sorry, this was one of those movies I watched very late at night, or was it a show? Is this a show? I don't fucking know, man. Yeah, it's a show. Okay, I've seen an episode or two of it. That's what I remember from it. So I've seen an episode of it. I think my girlfriend was watching it like a year ago, and I watched an episode of it. All right, we got a big question here from Seth Hall, and thanks for the very generous super chat. Seth, here it goes, man. Been watching early Marvel movies for the first time since Endgame. Some of these that I just thought were okay on first viewing, like Iron Man 3, seem like a goddamn masterpiece compared to what's been coming out lately. And let me take a drink of my delicious Sprite Zero Sugar before I talk about this. By the way, guys, I want you to know Sprite Zero, it's better than water. Imagine if water just tasted better, but you still were hydrated from it. That's what I consider Sprite Zero to be. Anyway, yeah, I go back sometimes to watch early Marvel movies, and I think, oh God, how good did we have it? Like each standalone movie feels like a piece of cinema. Like it's well crafted. You kind of care about everyone. It has like craftsmanship and character development, and it doesn't just feel like a skipping stone to get to the next movie. It feels like, wow, they tried. They wrote a story. They wanted people to give a shit about this. So when it leads up to something else, we care about it even more. And now we just have like generic people filling some void. And it's like, okay, guy who does things, who are you? So yes, absolutely. I go back to like the first Iron Man movie or the first Captain America or the second Captain America and think, holy shit, these were phenomenal films. And now we get things like Thor: Love and Thunder. What is this? You know, so you think they would have gotten better with time and age, but they're getting worse, aren't they? It's scary to me. They're slowly just shriveling and mutating into something that's not even recognizable anymore. All right, the next one comes from... You guys are killing it with the questions. I need to start talking faster. Okay. Tanish Q. Here it goes. Hey, John. What's your home theater setup? When is the next Flick Cave tour coming? What are your top 5 4K Blu-rays? Okay, my brain will explode. All right, let me try to get my home theater set up. Well, I have... My main home theater has a... Oh, my God. What is the brand of soundbar I have in there? I don't remember. I'm sorry. If you go to my Amazon affiliate link, in the bottom of most of my videos, it has the link to my soundbar. God, what is my surround sound system? Starts with an N. Anyway, there's two dual subwoofers. I have a 7.1 surround sound system, and then a front soundbar, and then I have an 83-inch LG OLED TV in there. So that's my current setup for my theater room. Nakamichi soundbar, I think, is what I have. I'm sorry, guys. I might be having an aneurysm right now. And my top 5 4K Blu-rays, I don't know. Shit. I thought Parasite looked really good on 4K. I think The Dark Knight Rises looks really good on 4K. I think The Dark Knight's a better movie, but I think Rises looks really good on 4K. What else do I have back here? I'd have to think about that. I'm sorry. That's a hard question to give you right off the top of my head, man. And then what? Oh, Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick on 4K. Oh, geez. Listening to that and watching it on 4K, it just makes your ass rumble. And first of all, my ass already rumbles when I look at Tom Cruise in 4K. But watching that film in 4K with the audio and the picture quality, that is perfection. So that's one of my favorite 4Ks of recent memory. So I'll go with that. What was the next part of your question? Oh, Flick Cave tour. I'll try to make it happen. I can do a Flick Cave tour. That's an easy enough video to make happen. And that's the kind of videos I like making. Optimistic Forever says, favorite Spanish word, go. Azul. The next one comes from Wade's Movie World, who says, hi, John. When you got your face injured, did you feel like Harvey Dent Two-Face from The Dark Knight? Did I want to start flipping a coin because I'm indecisive? Yes, I did. And maybe I will. But thanks for the question. Zine the Dream Reviews says, do you think The Dark Knight Rises has aged well compared to the most comic book movies that we get today? Also, would you imagine a multiverse Batman movie with Keaton, Bale, and Pattinson, or a multiverse too fantastical for Batsy? Yeah, I don't think you could have a mix of Bale, Pattinson, and Keaton all in one movie. Could they cameo in a movie if you did another mixing and meshing of the multiverse of all the shit? Sure, why not? But I would prefer my Batmans to be standalone. That's just where I'm at with Batman. I don't want my Batmans interacting with multi-dimensional beings anymore. Just Batman's in Gotham City fighting crime. That's where I want him to be. That's where he should stay. Do I think The Dark Knight Rises has aged well? As far as the story goes, I feel like it's the most discombobulated of the Dark Knight trilogy. And it's the one that has the least rewatchability for me at this point. There are segments in that film I enjoy, but there's also points in that film where I'm like, oh God, I don't want to look at this again. Like Talia al Ghul's character in that film. I'm just like, every time she's on screen, I don't want to look at her. Also, the prison scene, I get what they were going for, the symbolism of him being trapped in that prison and climbing to the top to be reborn. I get all of the symbolism. But at the same time, it felt odd to me. Like that prison was just a hole in the ground, and the only thing keeping people from escaping was a rope at the top of it. It just seems like somebody could have came by and just kicked that rope in over the last 30 years, and everyone would have escaped. I don't know. Just maybe I'm overthinking it, but for me, that's sort of like a weak point in the film, that it's just like, it's one hard pill to swallow when you watch it. Azim the Dream Reviews says, the Batman 2 villain predictions. Also, would you trust Matt Reeves to bring back Arnold as Mr. Freeze? Ice to see you. Probably not. Would I mind seeing Mr. Freeze, an incarnation of Mr. Freeze who's realistic to some degree and doesn't slide down the back of dinosaurs? Yes. Yeah, I would like to see that shit. Sure. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think there's a lot of Batman villains that So speaking of The Dark Knight Rises, I would like to see another version of Bane. Give me another version of Bane that fights Robert Pattinson's Batman. And I think there's a perfect lead into that. And watching Batman in the theater for the first time, as soon as he had that adrenaline needle in his leg that he whipped out and stuck it in and then just went, and freaked the fuck out and started punching until he almost passed out. That to me, it was green, like Venom. And imagine if there's just some jacked up dude in Gotham City who's jacked up on that stuff. He's just an addict for the venom or the adrenaline. And when he needs it in certain situations, he gets it and he's unstoppable. So to me, I feel like there was a slight introduction to that. So I don't know. Give me Bane. I'll take another version of Bane. Movies for Life says, any new Blu-rays or 4Ks? We just talked about the new Ferris Bueller Day Off 4K earlier in the live show, so that's the newest one. Also, are you watching TMNT this week? And I've heard good things. Yeah, if you scroll back earlier in the live show, I talked about it for a couple minutes. I did quite enjoy it. I was pleasantly surprised by it. There's a few creative choices I wish they would have changed, but I was happy with the movie. I liked the banter between the turtles. I thought, to be honest, I was a bit pessimistic about the film. I thought it was going to be a little too babyish, and I get where they're going, and I'm hoping for the next installment they age a couple years into older teenagers, and maybe the humor pushes the boundaries just a little bit. But no, I quite enjoyed it. I thought there were some adult-oriented jokes in there, but it was still a family film. And, I did enjoy it. But watching the movie, and I know there's a lot of fans of animation-style movies, just like Mutant Mayhem, and I think it was beautiful to look at. I think it was, once you got past the first 10 minutes of it, your brain sort of just accepts the visuals that you're seeing. But I would love another live action TMNT movie. Like, something about the live action movies of TMNT, that's what I want to see. So maybe one day. Observing the Apocalypse says, F, Marry, Kill, Oppenheimer, Einstein, Niles Bohr. Damn it, I thought you were going to put Barbie in there. That would have been an easy one. I don't know, man. I'd probably marry Einstein. He's a pretty smart dude. I don't know. Jesus, I don't know. Charismatic Character says, thoughts on Kraven the Hunter trailer in Madame Web. I don't care about Madame Web. I don't know. It's a thing. I don't care. Kraven the Hunter could be okay, but I don't think it'll be anything more than like an okay frozen pizza rainy day movie. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. The dude's ripped. But the thing that scares me about Kraven the Hunter is at the very end of the trailer, they have to tack in the Rhino being a villain, and he's going to be some mutated guy who's a Rhino, and they're probably going to have like a 4-minute battle, and it's going to be so forced into the movie at the very last second. So I don't have a lot of faith in it. Do I think it'll be better than Morbius? Probably. But do I think it'll be like some phenomenal comic book movie that stands the test of time? No. Tim DeGrand. Is it DeGrand? Tim DeGrand? Here it goes, Tim. Oppenheimer, guys in the nut... What? Okay. Oppenheimer, guys in nut hug suppression suits, teeny ties in conference rooms with loud score overlaid. Yeah. Well, there's definitely a lot of dialogue scenes of people just talking, but I will say this. At least I could hear the dialogue in the movie, and I was happy with that. It is a very heavy dialogue-driven film, but you kind of got, that's kind of how the movie needs to be. And the thing I like that Nolan did in Oppenheimer was every like 15 minutes, when he felt like the audience was getting bored with the dialogue scenes, he would just show like a nuclear explosion for 4 seconds on the screen. Wake up! And then it just cut back to Oppenheimer talking about a bomb. You know, I enjoyed the pacing of that. Jace Holloway says, in an alternate universe, John becomes an anti-hero who takes revenge on the corporate hacks who rigged the death ladder and tried to end him. I don't know how to tell you this, but I already am an anti-hero, okay? I'm a flawed character, but with a heart of gold. I'll do the right thing. And for me, the ends always justify the means. Let's go to the next question. Seth Hall says, been watching early Marvel movies for the first time since... Oh, I already answered this earlier. And thanks once again for the question, Seth. Lewis Harwood says, hi, John. Have you written any screenplays? I have not. I have not had time to dedicate my life to writing a screenplay. I have not. But I did, in fact, write my first Rotten Tomatoes review. Yes, I'm a certified Rotten Tomatoes critic now. I'm a somebody. Do you hear that, Mom? I'm a somebody now. So anyway... If you guys want to go to Rotten Tomatoes and read my review or my quick little blurb, because you only get 250 characters, my first ever Rotten Tomatoes review was for the Barbie movie. There you go. And the next one comes from Jace Holloway. Oh, nope, already answered this. Here we go. Two balls, one nut. What a great name. Have you seen The Boys? Just finished it and loved it. I did like the first few seasons of The Boys. I thought the newest season felt like half of a season. It felt like it felt really underwhelming after like the first 2 episodes. I did like the opening scene where the guy goes inside of a penis and it explodes. That was kind of cool. But Elliot Cecil says, the time Stranger Things comes, the kids will be 25. Yeah, I think Stranger Things is now slated to be released in 2025. Those kids are going to be 47 years old. They're going to be older than me at that point. So they're definitely going to have to write around that. These kids are going to have to be in college at this point, or at least in their, I don't even know. They're going to have to be in college at this point. So, which could make sense. Maybe they go on with their lives. Everyone's sort of doing their own thing. You know, you have some kids at college. One kid's over here, they're separated, but then they all come back together once again to vanquish evil. I think that would be sort of an interesting story. And maybe that's what they're going to have to do with it. NRML Design says, thoughts on the new season of Black Mirror. I watched like 3 episodes of it. I thought they were all sort of underwhelming, and I wasn't really into any of them. I thought the twists on all of them were sort of just like... when you hang out with a group of friends who aren't that creative and they take hallucinogenics and they go, oh, what if this happened in a movie? And you go, oh, that was okay, but I don't know if that's worth making something out of it. That's sort of how all the twists of Black Mirror felt to me. It just felt like, yeah, like, but it seems like you could have came up with a better idea. It felt like all the ideas that were left on the, like the writer's floor, like all the ideas that they passed on in previous seasons, they got overlooked because they weren't quite good enough. Those are the ideas that they made the new season out of. So I wasn't in love with any of them, but keep in mind, I've only seen 3 episodes. I've heard maybe there's 1 or 2 in there I haven't that are good. I don't know. At one point in life, maybe I'll get around to watching them. Elliot Cecil says, Rob Pattinson will be 42 when Batman 2 comes out. Yeah, but he looks like 7 years younger than he is, so it'll work itself out. Anesthesia Shave says, watching a faux restaurant because I've been sick for the past couple days. Thanks for making me laugh during these sucky times, John. Any thoughts on Cobra? Watched it on a sick day, and man. Oh, the Cobra with Stallone? That's some good stuff, man. That's a darker movie than I thought it was going to be for the first time, because you have this cult of people who just murder people. And it's a dark, twisted movie, man. I quite enjoy it, though. And Stallone's just chewing on a toothpick the whole movie, being a badass. That's what he does best. So yeah, I quite enjoy it. And get better. I'm a little bit sick myself right now. Can you hear my sniffles? All right, the next one comes from Night King 01, who says they are rebooting the what is this? They are rebooting the Psy, but for some reason Gal Gadot said today that Wonder Woman 3 is still happening. What? Is she sure this is I don't think that's happening. I think they confirmed it was not. But anyway, let's continue. The more and more I think about, the more I get worried, because you fire Henry Cavill but keep Gal Gadot, who cannot act. Yeah, but she looks good. Yeah, if they're making a Wonder Woman 3 and not continuing with Henry Cavill as Superman, I don't know how I feel about that. That doesn't feel right to me. I think it's okay if we reboot Wonder Woman at this point. Or just go a few years without another Wonder Woman movie. Because Wonder Woman 84 was not good, and I think that was sort of like the final straw. You know, it's like, I think we can move on at this point. Plus, let's talk about those Wonder Woman cameos that they had in Shazam and the one that they had in The Flash, where Wonder Woman just shows up and you can tell they're just using old footage of her, because she just comes into the scene and goes, she just has this weird smile that looks so AI and just like fades off into obscurity. Like, what the hell is that? All right, the next one comes from Gabe K. How's it going, Gabe K? Do you think a movie talk brand comparable to Screen Junkies or Collider will ever be as wildly successful as those channels used to be in the 2010s? Or are those days of movie talk forever lost? Well, I'm giving you movie talk right now. I don't need a corporation backing me to do it. Okay? I bow to no one. Do I think we're ever going to get a corporate product like movie talk where everyone's sitting on a soundstage talking about movies? Probably not, because the truth be told, if you look at the most successful versions of all of those shows, the key demographic for all of those was actually fairly small. Like, if you look at the actual viewership on all those Collider shows, or even the John Campea show, which I would say was like the next incarnation of that had a format. If you look at his actual 1 or 2 hour shows, or those 1 hour shows that they used to do, the viewership was like sometimes 30 or 40,000 people, as opposed to just some guy in his underwear making YouTube videos that gets 100,000 views. And you have to keep in mind, when you have those shows, you have 5 people sitting around a table. They had cameramen, they had audio engineers, they had to rent a facility, they had office people. Like, the overhead on those shows to produce those, just, it costs too much. As opposed to just having 2 people sit in front of a camera in a room that can get the same amount of viewership, if not more, with no overhead. So do I think those shows will return? Probably not. You know, I think there's an audience, but the audience just is like, it's a niche audience for those things. So the next one comes from Luis Javier Rubio. How's it going, Luis? Hey, Johnny Funkman, is it me, or do all Western movies have the best sound design of any any movie categories? I'd say those in sci-fi. Sure, I think Westerns, sometimes the score, it's very immersive. There's definitely a tone that you have for a Western film, a look, and it's almost soothing to watch a Western movie, isn't it? It's a little, you're getting something pure. The story's not going to be bogged down with technology. No one in a Western movie is going to have a fucking smartphone, for example, right? So there's some kind of weird pureness to the story of a Western film, and I think that's what's so captivating about them. But yeah, sometimes the score and the atmosphere and the sound design, just, yeah, you're right. There's something great about that. When it's right, it's perfect. Someone said Star Wars is dead. Yeah, it's sort of on live support, isn't it? John, did you like The Artist? The Artist or The Disaster Artist? John, would you do stand up and what jokes would you say? Would I do stand up? I wouldn't be opposed to it. I feel like sometimes during my live shows I do stand up, except I don't rehearse it or have any pre-written material. But I think I could do stand up. There's sometimes I have a lot of good social commentary. I think that would be the majority of my stand up, just social commentary, things I notice in everyday life. I'd probably talk about things like that. Uh, yeah. The next one comes from Azim the Dream Reviews. I gotta apologize to you for bombarding you with Jurassic Park questions over the last few years. It became clear to me that Universal doesn't know what they're doing, and honestly don't know if we are ever going to get a proper amazing sequel to Jurassic Park ever. But at least I have Batman. Yes, you do. And imagine Batman riding a dinosaur. Wouldn't that be the day? Funny enough, me and the lady friend have been watching the Jurassic Park movies. We watched the first three. Then we got into the Jurassic World franchise, which we did watch the first one. Now, I will say with the first Jurassic World, the only redeeming thing in that soulless movie is when old Rexy fights the Indominus Rex, and then the Mosasaurus just jumps out of the water and eats that fucking thing, which is almost comical. It's like, you guys designed this theme park for people, but you have a 140-foot shark dinosaur creature that can just jump over this 3-foot handrail anytime that it so deems it wants to. It's like the thought process into designing that place was just null and void. And then I was watching the movie again, and I had almost forgot that this existed. And as soon as I was reminded of it, I almost wanted to shut the movie off and never go back to it. Was the subplot of militarizing fucking dinosaurs, which is just baffling that they try to inject that into a movie. Yes, you know what's easier than creating like a robot to infiltrate war zone situations, or just making a guided missile that uses GPS to eliminate the enemy? No. I got a great idea. We'll train velociraptors, okay, to take out the enemy. Huh? How about that? Because, clearly training and transporting dinosaurs into enemy battlegrounds, that's really logistically so easy. So once I was reminded of that atrocity known as the militarized, I forgot what I was talking about. Anyway, I thought that was a really bad subplot. Can we move on? William says, The Big Flick, do you want a sequel to Nightcrawler? Yes, please give it to me now, baby. I'll take, you know what I would take? I would take a really well done limited series. And Netflix, I know you're watching, and Netflix watches all my live streams. I know all the executive producers over at Netflix, they sit around watching my live streams to take my ideas. But a limited Netflix Nightcrawler series. I'm telling you right now, I have a golden idea. Just give me a 5-minute meeting. I have the best pitch you'll ever hear in your entire life, okay? So that's what I would like to see. Lewis Harwood says, thoughts on Beau is Afraid. I enjoyed it. It gave me anxiety. I had taken a gummy before I watched it, so it definitely it made me feel like I was having a panic attack for the first time in my life. But that's what that movie is. It's literally the first person point of view of being in the mind of someone who has the most extreme case of anxiety. That's what it felt like. So, yeah. And I will say this, it just feels like when I was watching Beau is Afraid, it sort of felt like Joaquin Phoenix has been typecasted as like the crazy guy. Like we went from the Joker to Beau is Afraid. It just kind of felt like a little on the nose for me from a casting standpoint. But I don't really, that's not even a complaint. It's really just an observation. But I am looking forward to the new Napoleon movie. Give me that shit right now. A historical epic. Oh, please, I need it. William says, Johnny Flickington, Toby's trilogy, or Tom Holland's? I think they both have their ups and downs. I really do. I think the third Spider-Man film with Tobey is really bad. I really do. I can't watch it. It doesn't feel right to me. It feels weird. And plus, it was one of the worst theater experiences I ever had in my entire life. So I've always been turned off from that movie. And really, something about 2007 when it comes to sequels and 2008 was just a bad couple of years for like bloated studio interference when it came to sequels. Like you had the Pirates on Stranger Tides, then you had Spider-Man 3, then you had Kingdom of the Crystal Shit Skull. So it was just a weird time for sequels in Hollywood. But I think both the Holland trilogy of Spider-Man movies and the Maguire, they both have their positives and they both have their negatives. And it sort of just depends on what kind of mood I'm in. A lot of people love Spider-Man 2, and outside of like 3 scenes in that film, I've never loved it. Like, I get why it's a great movie, and if I gave it a critical score, I would definitely give it like a positive, like 4 out of 5. But I've never had this strong urge to rewatch it over and over again. Like, I'd much prefer to rewatch the first film. And then the third film I don't like. But when it comes to Tom Holland's trilogy, I think Spider-Man No Way Home was complete fan service, but really fun and easy to watch. The second movie in that trilogy was definitely a little bit underwhelming. I think that was the worst by far, and sort of a waste of the character of Mysterio and Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, let's be honest. By the end of Spider-Man 2 with Tom Holland, the dude he's fighting drones. He's fighting drones. Like, that's not exciting to me. So they both have their ups and downs. Observing the Apocalypse says, F, marry, kill, Oppenheimer. Didn't we already answer this? I said I'm going to bang Einstein. It wasn't that enough for you? Night King 01 says, John, don't make me mad by reminding me of Craven. This is not Craven. Craven is the dude whose entire life was Spider-Man. So much that he buried him alive, pretended to be him to prove he was better, then went home and shot himself in the head. Oh, God. Oh, God. Well, maybe that's how Craven ends. What if Craven, the movie, ends with him just blowing his fucking brains out? Wouldn't that be a phenomenal ending? That could almost be an art house film at that point. That's how Morbius should have ended. Next question. Bruce Cook says, isn't Cobra the movie with Sly Stallone standing out on a moving flatbed shooting 2 Uzis at a motorcycle gang? Yes, it is. So, but it's a great movie. All right, the next one comes from Azim the Dream Reviews once again. And by the way, guys, if you guys have any questions, try to get them in now. I'm gonna answer the next like 5 questions we have here. And also, if you guys are YouTube members, please chime in on the normal chat right now. I'd love to hear from you guys. So if you guys have questions, try to get those in for the next like 1 to 2 minutes. And then I'm going to answer everything we get at that point. And then I'm going to give you some witty, funny responses. I'm going to let you guys eat your popcorn. And then I'm probably going to go take a shower and fall asleep as I listen to a podcast. It's been a long day. All right, here we go. You know what? I'm not gonna give you the half-ass version. Okay, let's get pumped up, baby. All right. All right. Whoa! Here we go. Kenji says, pick the flick. You haven't done one in a while. Can I do that on the next live show? The movies are back there. I don't have any pants on right now. I don't want to get up. I'm going to save that content for my OnlyFans. So we'll savor that flavor. I'll do a pick the flick on the next one, man. Okay? Azim the Dream Review says, if you ever read The Batman, The Cult, do you think we could ever get a Batman movie with Deacon Blackfire as a villain? I don't know who Deacon Blackfire is. I didn't read it, man. Similar to Angels and Demons with Tom Hanks and Ewan McGregor, which is also scored by Zimmer. Wonder what a religious Batman movie would be. I don't know if I need a religious Batman movie. If there's like a subplot that kind of revolves around something like that, where you have like this religious cult of people who have this weird ideology, that could be interesting. But do I need a super religious Batman movie? Not for me. I don't need it. MKF30 says, hey, John, who'd win, Beetlejuice versus The Mask? I'm going to give it to Beetlejuice, man, because The Mask, I think Beetlejuice would, he would just murder you. He would find a way to murder you. I think that's, I'm going to go with Beetlejuice. Hey, come here, hey. The next one comes from Bruce Cook. Jurassic World, ? How about the hamster ball rolling along with stampeding 100-ton dinosaurs? I'm sure that was safe. Yeah, it's like they have these ideas that they didn't think through whatsoever. Like, oh, if we put a little ball rolling through a field, won't that be magical? It's like you guys tried to do this with a Ford Explorer that was on a track with 40-foot high fences, and that didn't work out. But now you're going to have a hamster ball with a fucking long-necked dinosaur that could just stomp on it and it's done? That's an insurance nightmare. It's not even logistically, plausible. I couldn't buy into it for a second. It was just too much. Do I sound like I'm angry? Maybe I am. I'm not angry. I'm just bitter. All right. The next one comes from Payload, who says, I'm 25 years old and I love films. Any recommendations on a series on Netflix, Hulu, HBO, or Disney? Man, where do I begin with such things? You go watch The Sopranos. Go watch Breaking Bad. Go watch the first 2 seasons of The Walking Dead. Go watch Better Call Saul after you watch Breaking Bad. Go watch Stranger Things. Go watch, what's another series I know I'm probably forgetting? Ozark was pretty good. Last of Us was pretty good on HBO. And if you've never seen Game of Thrones, oh my God, please go watch it now. Seth Hall says, John, go pick a random movie off your shelf and I'll watch it tonight. Okay, I'm going to pick one movie off the shelf after this question. Bruce Cook says, again, Jurassic World, the scene of tourists and kayaks and canoes paddling down a stream with gigantic dinosaurs on the riverbank. No problem there. Yeah, it was a movie made for simpletons that could just accept everything that was thrown at them without any thought. Let me go grab a movie off the shelf. And this is the movie you have to watch tonight, okay? Are you ready? Are you ready, Seth? Get ready for this. Hang on. All right. Here's your movie of the night, Seth. A little film called Collateral, where Tom Cruise plays the villain. Phenomenal. One of the best nightclub shootout sequences I've ever seen, and the music that they play in that, oh God, just pumps me up every time. Collateral. Phenomenal film. Go watch this. All right. The next one comes from Funny How, who says, hey, John, I'm currently writing a screenplay about a conflicted Marine who is sent on a mission to locate a rogue American soldier. He battles his inner conflict of his psyche, which is obsession for the mission and his guilt from earlier missions. Okay, I dig it. I need a little more flavor on that, though. I need a little more flavor on that bone. You need to really add something in there, man. That Marine, how messed up is he? I want this guy to be completely fucked up. I want this guy to be right on the edge of just almost being evil, but once again, he's the flawed character, so he has a slight heart of gold. But he's also evil to a certain degree, right? But it sounds good, man. Can it star Jake Gyllenhaal? I think you'd be a good casting choice for your Marine. Kenji says, best movies of 2001. I don't know. Let me see. 2001 movies. Joe Dirt. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure some people will say Donnie Darko. I wouldn't put that. Oh, okay. Here we go. Ocean's 11. Definitely on my list. Blow would be on my list. You could put Lord of the Rings on that list. God, 2001 had a lot of good movies. Monsters, Inc. Bubble Boy came out. Joyride, which I think is a fun, underrated film. Baby Boy. I don't know if you guys know this about me, and maybe I've mentioned it before. I'm a huge fan of the film Baby Boy, starring Tyrese. I love that movie. I've rewatched that probably 20 times. I like when that little kid is building a fort and Snoop Dogg knocks it over. And his line that he gives is hilarious. Ain't my son. I love it. You in my house with my boo? Nah, like that's good stuff. Is this that little Jody Joe who's a bitch? Oh, I love it. I love it. I could go watch that right now. That would put me to sleep and I would love it. All right, the next one comes from Night King 01. Did you know that Damon Hansu is returning for Gladiator 2 and Denzel Washington is going to be a big character? What? So Gladiators, yeah, that would make sense actually. He could be an older character. Maybe he still has a position in Rome to some degree. Okay, I could dig that. I feel like I said his name wrong. Denzel Washington is going to be a big character. What? Are you sure Denzel Washington's going to be in Gladiator 2? I don't know if that fits. Azim the Dream Review says, speaking of Craven, you excited for Insomniac Spider-Man 2 PS5? I don't have a PS5, so probably not, man. I just play Rocket League. That's it. William says, Johnny Hugetraps, Joker or the Batman? I think the Joker's probably overall the better screenplay of movies. I love them both. But I think the Joker stuck with me a little bit more than the Batman did. Not to say I didn't enjoy the Batman, but I think the Joker was the superior film. Night King 01 says, if I remember correctly, in Cobra, do the villains actually do anything? Well, they walk around with the axes trying to murder people, specifically one lady. Because I remember them doing nothing and Stallone just goes after them, which turns into a ridiculous 20-minute shootout. Apparently, the entire ending was reshot, which is why it's day. Well, they were trying to kill the lady who was a witness to one of the crimes. But other than that, I don't specifically remember what else their mission was other than just to kill people. But did you need more than that for character motivation? They had giant axes. The next one comes from DJ. What is this? DJune01? Here it goes. Will you audition for the new Back to the Future Broadway musical as Big F? I think you'd be amazing. Like Biff? You want me to... Did you mean Biff? Why don't we make like a tree and get out of here? I don't know. I think maybe I'm too old for that. And plus, the thing is, I'm 6 foot tall. I feel like if you have to cast Biff Tannen for a Broadway play, you need a guy who's like 6'3" or 4", who really like has a little more height to him. I could wear stilts, I guess. I don't know. Silvio says, or Silvio 10708 has become a member. Yay! Thanks, man. Well, thanks, man. Bruce Cook says, the 2001 movies. Don't say Planet of the Apes. No, I would never say that. MKF30 says, hey, John, do you have Mortal Kombat 1995 on 4K or 1080 HD? I do have Mortal Kombat on 1080 Blu-ray. Is it on 4K? Is Mortal Kombat on 4K? Yeah, 95 Mortal Kombat's not on 4K. Unless it is and I don't see it, but I didn't think it was. But if it is, I will get that shit. All right, the next one comes from Uncultured Currency, who says, smile or talk to me. Greetings from Megacon. How's it going, buddy? I definitely say Talk to Me is the superior film. Smile is just generic junk that just steals from other movies and tries to cram it into their movie to capitalize on 12-year-olds who have not seen better horror movies. That's what Smile was. So I definitely say Talk to Me is the superior horror film, but I didn't love it. Fidel Reyes, how's it going? A Flick Pick live stream? Time to drop everything and make air fry some mozzarella sticks. Ooh, that sounds good, man. Save me some. Extra sauce. I forgot the name of the red sauce. Mozzarella sauce? Is that what it's... No, it's called something else. Marinara sauce. There it is. I know things. Joel Wayne says, have you watched The Bear? The Bear. No, I have not. Lee B. Film says, thoughts on True Romance and Natural Born Killers. I like True Romance. I have it on 4K back there. Really cool Arrow release. Highly recommend picking that shit up. Natural Born Killers I've seen probably twice. I remember the yoga scene with Woody Harrelson vividly. It's been a long time since I've seen it, though. So I probably prefer True Romance if I had to pick one. Cocaine Bear, I have a review for the movie. I thought it should have been a Netflix movie at best. Yeah, I've seen Cocaine Bear. There's a review on the Flickpick channel. Go check it out, man. I thought it was blah. I thought it was like, it should have been like an hour and 10-minute long movie on Netflix. The next one comes from... I'm just going to answer a few more questions, guys. Do you like Rey Mysterio in WWE? Yeah, I mean, the dude's like getting old, but he still moves. He's still one of the most agile performers in the ring, and I'm looking forward to SummerSlam this weekend, I will tell you that. Nothing in life, to me, lately has been more pure than watching wrestling. It feels unadulterated. It just feels pure. It's a spectacle. And it just, like, that, when I want to let go and just, like, enjoy life for a few hours, wrestling takes me to a happy place, you know? Favorite mac and cheese brand? I have not eaten macaroni and cheese in probably like 3 years. I always liked Kraft as a kid. I always enjoyed the artificial sawdust flavor of Kraft macaroni and cheese. John, is Kids 95 disgusting? Yes, it is. Kids 95 is a gross movie. And I feel like it was directed by a pedophile. Anyway, the next question. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go back to that for a second. I think it's, in a way, if you show that film to teenagers, will it maybe scare them straight ever so slightly? Yes. But like it has like that nastiness to it. And that director of Kids, he always brings like this weird grossness to his movies. And I'll leave it there. I hope Nolan does a horror film next. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. MKF30 says, hey, John, have you seen the teaser prototype for Small Soldiers 2 War of the Necron? It's on here. It looks cool. What? The teaser for Small Soldiers 2? What is this? Is this real? Is this a fan film? What is this? Jack says, hey, John, can I get a happy birthday from Mark Wahlberg? I love your stuff. Hey, Jack, I've been thinking a lot about your name lately. And every time I close my eyes, I see these bright, shiny letters. And they say, happy birthday, Jack. Happy birthday, Jack. Say hi to your mother for me. The next one comes from Lee B. Films, who says, thoughts on Gilmore? God, oh my God, John, it's getting late. Guillermo del Toro's helming the Universal Monsters universe. I would love to see that. I think he's the right guy for the job. They definitely need to go simple. They need to definitely have it set in a time period of like the 1920s to the 50s or whatever. Don't make modern day action blockbusters with the property, with the monster universe property, like they try to do with Tom Cruise in The Mummy. Don't do that shit. Go back to basics. Do you think John Hamm should be Batman in Brave and the Bold? No, but I think Josh Brolin should. I think if you make an older Batman movie, Josh Brolin should be Batman. He looks the part, man. And at one point, it was between him and Affleck before Affleck got cast. So, yeah, give it to Brolin. John, how is work going? I'm getting into the groove. I think I'm getting pretty good at it. Some days I have a lot to do and other days I have some downtime, and I like it. I like the flexibility. I get to move around all day. I interact with people. I talk to a lot of people. It's definitely an interesting job. And it's, I don't know. It definitely drains my brain some days. I will tell you that. You know what it is? I schedule a lot of things for my job and I have them all ready to go. But the thing is, the next day, immediately at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm getting phone calls because all those things I set up to work out perfectly. The biggest issue with my job is you cannot rely on other people. People are just crazy. They're scatterbrained. They can't be at a certain place at a certain time because it's almost an impossibility. That's the biggest detriment in my job is just managing people. And because you can't manage people. They're unpredictable. So other than that, it's going pretty good. Billy M says, will Shelby Oaks be the next Sound of Freedom? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I don't know what it's going to be. I am curious to see it, though. River says, what do I do when I want to be entertained? I turn the flick pick on. Keep being you, John. Love from Sydney, Australia. Well, thanks down under, buddy. Thanks for that. Much appreciated. It's fucking crazy to me. Like, you're on a continent 18 hours away by plane just watching me talk about nothing right now. Isn't this crazy? Look what technology has done for us. But thanks for watching. All right, guys. I think MKF30 says, I hope we get Tron 3. I would like to see another Tron movie. I really would. I just hope the screenplay is better. But I like that universe. But what else can you do in the Tron universe that we haven't already done? Unless, of course, I think the next installment, and I think the original concept was to blend the Tron universe with our reality. So the intermesh with each other. I think that's where they were going to go, if I remember correctly. But it could be cool. Bruce Cook says, at work, do any of the people recognize you from your podcast? Does anyone recognize me at work? No, the people I work with don't necessarily watch a lot of movie content on YouTube, so not really. A few of them think it's kind of cool, but it's sort of, we just leave it at that. Night King 01 says, my Streamlabs, John, you missed it. What? Well, I don't see it here, but I'll keep looking for you. Let's see what we got. Yeah, I don't see it, man. I'll keep looking. Give me 5 seconds. Let's see if I can find it. Night King 01, where was your glorious question? Oh, Night King 01 says, I guess having big axes is still a crime within the law of Cobra. I love the opening where the dude parks in a handicap zone and starts shooting the Pepsi racks in the grocery store. Yeah, the opening shootout in the grocery store, phenomenal stuff, man. At one point, they wanted to make the Cobra movie kind of like an action comedy, and I think it was Stallone who said, no, this has to be dark and more sinister and evil. And I think that was the right approach. But yeah, the movie was definitely, it wasn't perfect. All right, the next one comes from, did you watch Prisoners, the movie? I have a review 10 years ago. Yes, I did. Thanks for hanging out, dude. Good night, everyone. John, will you play those arcade games? Would you guys like me to go back there and play Capcom versus Marvel for just like the next hour, and you guys can just look at my back as I play it? Would that be entertaining content for you? How about from now on, what I'll do, let me throw something at you guys. What if I just left this live stream go indefinitely, forever? I just left this camera on in this office. Sometimes I come in here, I play these games. Sometimes I sit here and look at my computer screen. I won't interact. I'll just live my life in this room. Would you guys like to watch 24-hour content that takes place in this room? Now, keep in mind, I go to work during the day now. So there's going to be like an 8-hour period of just looking at nothing in here. But I still think that would be better than some of the content that you guys might be getting in your subscription feeds nowadays. Just a thought, just putting it out there. Everyone's saying yes. I wonder, like, what if I did that and that just became a phenomenon on YouTube? That's really the key to success. It's not about being super creative. It's not about working hard. It's about just leaving your fucking camera on at all times. I'm not opposed to it. All right, guys. So with all that said, I want to say thanks for watching the brand new live show. Thanks for hanging out. My beverage is empty, but thanks for the questions and take care. And I'll just leave this on. I'll see you guys next week. Take care. I'm just kidding. Go home. It's getting late. All right. Plus, that's the bathroom I use, so it might be awkward if you guys see me go in and out of there just watching TikTok videos. But at one point, I might do a 24-hour live stream, so look out for that shit. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.